Welcome to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast, where we learn about some success stories and some not so successful stories. But either way, we learn. Each episode, we talk with successful real estate agents and vendors about things they have done to make them successful and some things they did that you might want to avoid. Join us for each episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin.
All right. Well, welcome to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast. I am here with an old buddy, old friend of mine, Mr. Brock Zevan. Am I pronouncing it right? I mean, all these years
Yep.
I've known you. I assume I'm saying it right. I could have been saying it wrong all these years. I don't know.
Sometimes you never know some people's last names. You're just like, well, just call him Brock all the time. I didn't even really put two and two together on that one. So, but no, Zevan, you said it right. So you're good.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, I know a little bit about Brock, and I've interviewed Brock before, and Brock is a real estate all-star here in the Charlotte market and beyond because he does some coaching and whatnot. And dude's just a positive guy. He's a net positive. You know, that's the way I tell my kids, my wife, people who work for us. I just break it down simple. Everybody's got positives and negatives, and as long as their positives outweigh their negatives, we can work. you
Yep.
know, and there's a few people whose
Simple.
negatives you got to cut them loose. And Brock is just a super net positive. But Brock, for the three people who don't know who you are, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate the opportunity. And first and foremost, is right before we were talking, I just want to say to the audience as well, there's not a lot of people that I get to be around that tell me they're gonna do something and actually do it. It's very hard in this world to do these type of things. And you told me a couple months ago, I think it was about a year ago, and said, I want to do a podcast. I want to do a podcast. And you're literally doing a podcast. And so hats off to you at first because it is very hard to do podcasts. A lot of people think it's very simple. They think it's easy and it's hard to create content. It's hard to do editing and it's hard to show up and do it all the time. So hats off to you on doing that. So well done. So
Appreciate it.
yeah, man, I appreciate the opportunity to be on here. My name is Coach Brock Zevan. I'm a life coach, business coach, real estate agent, and a DAD. That's kind of my intro.
I like it.
I run a my Yeah, and it's I say it so many times now that people like it just like anything. They get it, they understand it. It's kind of who I am. I have two beautiful kids. Bryce is my 6-year-old son. My daughter Brielle's 12. She made the middle school team and she's playing the club team. She is following in her dad's footsteps because homework seems to be at the very bottom. It's like sports and activities, recess, everything you possibly can imagine. Brielle, have you done your homework? Dad, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. So I was just like, well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So yeah, I'm blessed and fortunate. I've been able to grow. I now big into still doing real estate here in Charlotte specifically. I'm still a producing agent. I still do right around 15 million in real estate sales personally. I think it's important to share that because people on the outside just see as you coach and podcasting, but like no, I'm still in the grind. I still do real estate. I still personally do it. I do 255 podcast shows a year. So
Wow.
I'm constantly doing podcast shows. We have a whole team that helps us with ours. You've been on our show a couple times,
Yep.
and so do that. Run a virtual agency company. Author of a book. Getting ready to create my second book. I coach right now 15 agents across the country. That's kind of like my max of where I like to be at because I don't want to be one of those coaches that just doesn't really give you the time and energy. So I do that, and we do about 125 referrals across the country with referrals. So I have about 33 people on my team, and I have 4 full-time virtual agents that work with me to manage all the different platforms that we do. So and I still make time to be with my kids. I think it's important to keep track of relationships, still have a date night, still, go to my daughter's all her soccer games and all my son's soccer games. but learning leverage as I grow through this and go through a lot of the different ups and downs, is I'm sure you as well, and been blessed to have you on our Figured Out Friday podcast where you're sharing with us your figured out moments in life. So that's kind of me in a nutshell of all the different aspects I do, my kids' life, and I'm in a growing season right now. Is the best thing to say, where I am doing a lot of work right now, but I'm passionate about it, and I truly truly love my job.
Awesome, awesome. Well, and we could go so many different directions.
Yeah.
Brock's type guy you could talk to forever, but he is coaching. Now our audience here is primarily going to be real estate agents, but you now
Mhm.
coach like not just real estate agents. You coach all kinds of like business folks, don't you? Or tell me about that.
Yeah, so we do coach. I'm actually getting ready to coach a brewery with their sales strategy, because sales is sales. So I coach lenders, loan officers, insurance agents, real estate agents primarily because that's my field. But I've had a brewery reach out to me that I've done a lot of events at, and they listen into my stuff and like, do you think you can help us? And so that's been my first one that I've been working on, right here in the Cornelius area. But it's just having conversations with people. My book, Turning Scripts into Conversations, was a main ingredient that, basically how to listen to people. God gave us two ears and one mouth, listening to understand, not respond. And so in the coaching realm, that's what I do a lot of. I help people understand, build their business, make it scalable, how to leverage it, using virtual assistants, when's the right time, how can I afford it, and growing themselves from the inside out, and using a lot of the stuff that I learned from John Maxwell, Michael Burt, Eric Thomas, a lot of the motivational speakers as well as leaders, Jim Rohn, and then developing into the business world.
Awesome, awesome. You said so much there. Selling, scaling. Oh, that rhymes. Selling, scaling. I should come up with something. But I do want to talk about. I need to listen to your book. Do you have it on Audible yet? I need to.
It is actually, I just interviewed somebody to do it on Audible. As much as I love my voice is not the greatest thing on Audible. I'm learning. I heard that there's different tonalities, different things. So I always keep a copy right here. But yeah, it is not on Audible yet. I'm actually working on that in the second quarter. Go
And I didn't mean to
figure. It
put you on the
costs
spot or
money
anything.
and time. No, no, but yeah, that is next for our Audible. Because we do get it on Amazon. We have the Kindle version, but now we're getting ready to do Audible.
Yeah, I'm I'm a voracious listener.
Hmm.
I have ADD, so squirrel. I can't.
Yeah.
I've never been a reader, Brock. I'll start reading and I start daydreaming, but I
Yep.
call it windshield university, man. When I'm
Yep.
driving, I'm a captive audience in my own thing. So it's like, I've heard, every song a million times. I might as well learn something while I'm driving. So I call it windshield
Hats
university.
off to you. That's really
Yeah, and
good
I think I
because a lot
stole
of
that from
people.
Brian Tracy. That's not original,
Yeah.
but I stole it from somebody. Credit to whoever I stole that from. I'm not sure, but so tell me a little bit about that book, though. I would like to know because, obviously, I home inspector. I sell home inspection services. We do marketing. Started to do a little more sales. I've always thought, and tell me if I'm wrong. Marketing is selling to many, sales is more of a one-on-one sort of thing. And I've,
Hmm.
I've, I've always felt pretty good about the marketing aspect of it. In fact, I'm writing a book called Be the Elephant in the Room. So I'm put that
There
out
you
into
go.
the ether. So now
There you
and
go.
I feel like what you said
That's the
earlier,
second thing you told me about.
if
Podcast
you
and
say
writing a
it,
book.
you tell enough people, now you got to do it or it's embarrassing,
Hmm.
and especially if
Yep.
you tell your wife because she's the real.
She'll hold you to it. She will hold you to
Yeah,
it.
like have you been working on that book? But I am going to have a book called "Be the Elephant in the Room." But that's my book. But and I have got 5 chapters written. But anyway,
There you
neither
go.
here nor there. This is your podcast. Tell me about turning the sales scripts because the sales part, I'm going to tell you, man, that is an Achilles heel for me. I've always had a negative, connotation. The used car sales, what's he going to take to get you in this car today, son?
Right.
Overcoming objections, isolating objections, no. I've always had a negative, but I know it's not that. But help me out here. So how do you tell me about your book?
So, one of the things you did say earlier, marketing and sales. Marketing is long term. It takes a while to get to to get to the sale. One of the things I teach and coach is about now money. How do you get now money? Most real estate
Right,
agents need money today. Most real estate agents want money. Most salespeople want money today. Okay,
right,
they don't want to wait for it. And how do you start building these conversations? How do you have a conversation for somebody to say the magical words, "You're hired. I want to use you. Yes, you're the agent for us." These are all things the agent like we're starving for. We crave for these type of things. And part of the book talks about the setup, setting the table before the dinner. And because the dinner could be beautiful, it could be amazing. But if you don't have a plate to put it on, you don't have a utensil to use, it becomes a little challenging to have the greatest meal that you probably just can't wait to devour. So it's the process and the setup to get to that. I teach a lot about that in the book, my stages on, the five touches before I even get to the appointment. What am I saying in my pre-listing appointment? And most people like they don't do even pre-listing appointments. My appointment really is at the pre-listing. Why? It's kind of like I use the analogy and I share in the book that, when back in the day, when we were young, I don't know about you, but I remember that when my parents went to go buy a car, we went to go start looking at cars on Sundays.
right.
Why? Is because the dealer wasn't there. They just wanted to tiptoe into it. They wanted to see what was going on. They didn't want the haggling. They didn't want to be annoyed. If you really want to buy a car, you go on a Tuesday in the middle of the day when there's actually somebody there who's going to help you buy a car. So most people you have conversations with in the sales world are very defensive. They're just kind of like they're very like when you go to an open house, honey, remember, we already have an agent. You don't need us to
We're
know how
not
like
buying anything.
yeah, right? Because I didn't even say that, and you knew exactly the script on what it is.
Yeah,
And
I've
so,
had that conversation.
right? So I teach agents really to ask questions. So part of my book is a formula that I created, and it is validate, check for clarity, ask questions, and you repeat this process until you can validate and you can create a solution with the plan. So most people, when I study this, was using the disc analysis through John Maxwell and Tony Robbins, is that we are S's and C's. Most people are S's and C's in the disc analysis. And that means you like structure. That means you're analytical. We've proved it already that most people live paycheck to paycheck because they don't know how to budget and manage. They know how to spend their money, but they're very like emotional that have to make today's decisions or like emotional with like, I don't know how to save money. I think I should save money, but we're just very process oriented. We like things done a certain way. We want to, if I ask people in the audience, when you go to the grocery store, would you prefer a list or you just kind of walk up and down the aisles and pick and choose how you feel? Technically, if you walk down the aisle, pick and choose how you feel, and if you go hungry, you will spend more money. Then, if you go to the grocery store full and with a list, you will spend actually less money at the grocery store because you have a plan, and you're setting yourself emotionally where you're not thinking about hunger. You're thinking about your list only. So I've
Right,
used some of these strategies to be able to use in the sales force and by asking the right question. When you're going in there, what's more important? What's the most important thing to you on your home? Have you had a home inspection beforehand? If somebody told you that they had flood damage and they came from some sort of issue, a pre-existing condition, they might be talking all about the flood and be like, we want flood insurance. We need to have flood. We want everything checked out from this 4 foot down. I don't know. They'll come up with something. But if you ask the right questions, you say, hey, tell me a little bit about that. I mean, to be honest with you, we've never had a flood here. Flood's not required from the insurance. Tell me a little bit more about that. Well, they might tell you about their past. They might tell you a little bit about it. And you might say, hey, you know what? Instead of flood, which you can do, over here in this area of Charlotte, radon is a little bit more something that I would encourage you to do. I would encourage you to go down this radon and look at that. And we do have a couple examples here to share with you. oh, wow, I never really thought about that. So now you gave them a different perspective. So my book really teaches you how to have conversations with people by listening to understand, not just to sell them. Oh, you did have a flood? Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. Just to double check yourself, you need to get a flood insurance or flood inspection. You need to have this inspection done. You need to have this inspection done. And really, you're overselling. Most agents oversell about themselves because they think that the person really cares about all their awards and prestigious stuff and everything else. No, they just care about themselves. We're a selfish society. So if you ask more questions about you, Preston, and we've had several conversations, but how's your business? How's your family? How's the girls? What's your next step? What are you trying to do? Where are you trying to grow? Is there somebody I can connect you with and helping you? How does that look for your book? Do you want to talk to my publisher? And
Which
now,
I might, by the way. But keep going.
right? But these are things that you want to ask questions about.
Right.
And so when it's all said and done with it, Preston, I really appreciate that. You know what? Do you know anybody else that should be on my podcast? And you might ask me the same thing. And then I might say to you, hey, you know what? I will get you Rebecca Black. She's the one that helped me with my book. And just tell her I sent you and I hope everything works out. And if you need help with the printing, let me know because I can send you over the company that did my printing. Now, if
I love it.
somebody thinks coaching or authoring a book, I'm pretty sure you're going to think about me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
And did
love it.
I ask you at one point
I
to
never felt
to
pressure. I never felt
right?
pressure. I felt like you were concerned and you were really trying to help me, which I think what I'm hearing is, and I've heard this before. People love to buy, but they hate to be sold. You know,
Exactly.
and what? And correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm seeing your approach is I mean, which is a more natural approach. Like, tell me about your situation. What are you trying to accomplish? What problems do you have? And, and if there's a way I can help you solve them, I will do that. Not buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, which is like
That's it.
the feeling we have about sales is, buy my stuff, overcome resistance. What's stopping you from buying it? And that's just not a natural. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes
They
that.
don't want they don't want to be in. I call a lot of FISBOs and expireds, and so like I'm not the only person. Many people
Yeah.
call them. Okay, many people that enjoy even the cold calling aspect of things. So if you're a FISBO or expired that's listening to this podcast right now, and you're an agent that maybe, you know what, if I could just get maybe 4 extra deals this year, you talking to strangers. Okay, like 90% of my business all comes from talking to strangers. I'm working on the database and sphere of influence. I'm working on that part, but like most of my business comes from talking to strangers. So this is for you that are listening in. When you talk to a for sale by owner, you want to act like they know you're trying to get the listing. So stop
Right.
asking.
Yeah.
Ask them why they wanted to do a for sale by owner. What's
To make more.
important to them to make more money? Right? That's the obvious. So I don't even need to ask them that. That's a pretty obvious
Dude,
question, right?
I got a great
So
idea, Brock. Let's do it. I'll be a
yeah,
for sale by owner. You call me.
okay. Ring ring.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Bill Gallagher with Superior School of Real Estate, and I'm here with Preston Sandlin of Home Inspection Carolina. Preston, I've always liked your style, especially those pants, and also I've been interested in the home inspection business for a long time.
Well, Bill, that's ironic. I've always admired your style, and I've always admired your ability to educate these fine folks for sometimes 4-8 hours a day. I wish that I could do what you do.
Hey Preston, wouldn't it be cool if we switched? Preston, we sure got what we wished for, buddy.
We sure did. And now that you're the expert, Bill, I mean, you are wearing the pants. And I'm the instructor and the educator. Tell us what Home Inspection Carolina is doing these days to make the home buying process easier for realtors and home buyers.
Well, Preston, all our home inspection reports now are online for the real estate agent and the client to review the report online and to be able to create a repair list basically online by either clicking repair, accept, monetary compensation, And once they prepare the request, they can then press email, text, or print right then.
You mean it's all automated, Bill?
Absolutely, we are high tech.
Wow. What else is Home Inspection Carolina doing different these days?
Well, Preston, we're training our home inspectors to be non-alarmist. We are training them to put things into perspective and to simplify the message for the hopeful homeowner.
Non-alarmist is key, Bill. You remember those days of the 100-page reports and those 3-ring binders that would just go on and on and on, la 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 la. Thank you for being a good non-alarmist.
And Preston, one more thing. We fix the small stuff for free. Do you remember when home inspectors always put those little nitpicky items on those reports?
Oh, bless their hearts.
Well, at Home Inspection Carolina, if we can fix it in 5 minutes or less, we do it for free. We're better with a caulk gun than a keyboard any day. We just fix it.
You mean there's no cost for this, Bill?
Preston, it's free.
Wow.
Well, Preston, these pants really are a catch.
Well, Bill, I've enjoyed wearing the suit, but I don't think I could wear it every day because I got to fix the small stuff for free, and I don't want to ruin a good suit.
Preston, it's been a lot of fun flipping the switch.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Brock Zevan. I'm a local real estate agent. I was calling to see if your house was still available.
Yeah, no kidding. You're like the 8th guy who's called me today.
8 people have called you already. Please, what time do they start calling? I hope not before 8 o'clock.
Soon after, probably 10 after 8.
Okay. Okay, good. Because there are some crazies that call at 7. So 8 people call you. Have you given the listening to any of those 8 people?
No, it's kind of gotten annoying.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. And you probably get more real estate agent calling than buyers, and that's your true goal, is to get buyers. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. How long has your house been on the market for?
Just hit the market today, actually.
Oh, congratulations on that. And you're still more probably upset that more agents are calling than buyers are calling you.
Yeah, I haven't had a buyer call me yet.
Okay. Now, have you ever sold a home before by yourself?
No, I have not.
No? Okay. So is it fair to say that money is important to you because you're doing the for sale by owner? Like, is it the commission that really had you leaning into that direction?
Yeah, I hear you got to pay the real estate agent when you get them. So, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just like anybody, I'm trying to save money.
Yep. Now, are you saving money for your next house, to pay off bills, to put in retirement, build an investment portfolio? What are you using the money for?
My wife and I are going to downsize now that the kids are gone.
Oh, how many kids you have?
2,
2? I have a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old. How old are your kids?
20 and 24.
So I'm going to do a quick
Getting ready to be
timeout.
21, by the way.
Wow.
Thank goodness, because I'm tired of using that fake ID. I probably would say this. Did I say that on the air?
I'm sure you and I both use, I know I used to think I did. But do you hear what I'm saying? I didn't ask them for the listing at all. It's a
No.
it's a preempt that
Conversation.
it's just a conversation I'm having. Like, how many people call? Like, because that is a normal question. Oh, I've had so many people call. I diffuse it by asking, what time do they start calling you?
Right.
I don't even know. What are you going to do with that money? What are your plans with that money? You got kids. You're downsizing. I went right into kids. And then I before you even answer the question, I told you how many kids I had.
Right.
Because sometimes people talking to strangers, who the hell do you think you are, man? I'm not going to tell you how many kids I have. I'm not going to tell you how much money I have. I'm not going to tell you what I'm trying to do with it. So if you start talking about yourself first in reference to your personal life, they're more open to it. Well, let me just tell you about the story. I actually, my house that I had in Northstone, I was foreclosed on it, and I had $150,000 in IRS debt, and so I had to take all my money and I got rid of my IRS debt. Let me just tell you, pay your taxes, okay? Just always pay your taxes. But here's the important thing, sir. I completely understand going through trials and tribulations and problems and everything else that comes with selling a home. And I feel confident when you find the right agent, and I hope that's me and I get a chance to interview. I'm going to be working really hard for you because I know what it takes, and I know what it feels like to be able to have that release of selling a home. And for you, it's not paying IRS. For you, it's having you and your family downsize so you and your kids can come back, or for your kids to be able to come back after they move away and they're going to start their own family. So probably 3 bedrooms is probably something that you'd be looking with, or 4 bedrooms, so that way when they bring their grandkids, you and your wife can enjoy having them. Is that something that is your vision?
Yeah, and I'm hoping to to have enough money to add to my investments to because I'm looking at retiring here, so that's
Sure,
part of it as well.
absolutely.
I
And
gotta I gotta make it to the end here
yeah,
financially.
so do you have a wealth strategist that you're working with?
I do.
You do? Okay, great. Because most people don't have a wealth strategist. So I'm glad you do. He's going to be a very important key because once you sell your home, you're going to have all this extra money in your pocket to being able to invest and do whatever it is that you look for. Now, I would continue to carry on this conversation as much as you would allow me to. So what I do here is I'm listening to your personality. See, Preston, you have a high I, so you engagement, but I'm pretty sure that's your job is your sales, so you have to talk to a lot of people.
Right.
I'm sure when you go home and I see your Facebook, you do painting. You spend time by yourself. You're reflecting because that is your zen. That is your
Right.
main focus. When you got to go perform in front of people and perform in front of these the Bill Gallaghers and go to these conferences and you got to go and do your pitch with the crazy pants and going in and constantly always being in front of people, but you made a name for yourself. There they
I don't know if
are.
you can,
Where they
my
go.
new dinosaur pants. I don't know if you can see them.
Yeah, there they are.
I was out today.
But that's your marketing. That's you, and you've done a phenomenal job with that. But when you're by yourself, you're probably like, just let me be my peace,
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I'm actually one of
right?
those introverted extroverts or whatever you call them. Like I
I'm the same way.
as
It's
soon
like
as
when I'm
I
by
mean, I can
myself,
turn
I'm
it
just like,
on, but man, when I get home, I'm like, I don't want to. I want to get my little sweatpants
yeah,
and
you don't need to wear the crazy pants on the couch,
exactly, exactly.
right? I've
Well,
learned to
Brock,
do those conversations in less than a minute.
oh, that's awesome. How do you keep from getting down? I mean, like I'm picturing you doing that, you're coaching that, and I think that's great. But obviously, there's going to be somebody you call that is just going to be, and maybe hang up on you. how do you how do you stay positive and make the next call? And keep your, you know what I mean? Because some people
Well,
you could be the nicest person in the world, and you're just not going to penetrate their defense.
so I don't know if I have it. I have it on the wall, but I was just trying to see if I had it here. Um, you know, there's a couple things that I have that are really on hand here. One's on the wall, but this is my card that my kids, Bryce, has me, and then here's my other one that Brielle sent me, and then
Nice.
I have my little picture right here of my
Oh, that's
kids.
cool. Can you see
So,
this? I don't know if you can see
yeah,
this. My
best dad
daughter gave me
ever.
this. It's my name plate, Preston Sandlin, best dad ever. It's on my
So,
desk.
if if somebody if you were striving for your children,
Yeah,
which I know you
I
do, you're a great dad. I see your post. And somebody was making fun of you. Would you listen to them or would you keep your eye on the prize? Like, I don't care what you say. I got to take care of my family. I got to take care of my kids. I'm going to keep growing. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to let you bother me. And I'm the same way. My kids are my everything. So when people like you have to find what you're passionate about. You have to find what your why is. When I'm trying to find not trying because trying is not a word. So when I wanted to go to spring break, we talked about spring break 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. And I knew for me to go to spring break to get a beach house on the water in the ocean, Murrells Inlet. They want a golf cart. I knew it was going to cost money. I like to go out to dinner. Like I have it all mapped out. And I was just like, it's going to cost about $6,500 for the spring break week. Okay. I just take 6,500. I figure out what that sale needs to be. I calculate my commission and I go after it. So I don't give a you know what on what anybody says to me because I'm fighting for spring break for my kids. So attach an
Oh,
emotion or a goal to whatever it is that you're trying to go for. So when somebody tells you to go F off, which is very seldom, but if somebody hangs up on you or somebody says something that you don't like, there's a bigger picture, there's a bigger goal, there's a bigger reason, there's a bigger result that you're trying to get to than the negativity that they're trying to get into, because the positiveness of seeing my kids on the beach, being able just to walk out to the to the to the ocean, that's my pleasure. That's what gets me. And there's really not too many people that can get in between that.
I love it. I love it. I read some book a while back, and they had some imagery that was kind of similar to what you were saying. Like, imagine if you were between two tall buildings. I mean,
Yeah.
the World Trade Center would be great if it was still there, but
Right.
and there's like a rope across or something or whatever, and I was like, Brock, I need you to go across that rope or something like that. You'd be like, what?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. But now, if there was a villain on the other side of that building dangling one of your kids over the building, and you had to go across that rope, what are you doing? I'm going
Yep.
across that damn rope. I mean,
Yep.
somehow I'm doing some daggone Marvel stuff or something. But
Yeah.
the motivation,
Hmm.
it's just like what motivates you, and the right motivation, survival can overcome anything. So,
Hmm.
so let me ask you
Absolutely.
this, bro. New agents, I have two questions. Agents that are new to the business. My first part of the question is because a lot of agents listen to this. What's the biggest common mistake that new agents make? And then the second part of my question is, let's say the agent's doing well, but they're maxing out. This is really two questions. I'm sneaking two in one. But they're doing all they can do, and they want to scale because you mentioned scale earlier in the call.
Hmm.
How does an agent go about that, and what are the steps? So I guess the first part of my question is biggest mistake new agents make. Second part is new agent starts doing well. How do they scale?
So there's one common theme that I would say to both of them, and then I'll answer your question. It doesn't. Is it fair to say that Tom Brady was one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game?
The best. And I'm
Right?
a Joe Montana fan, by the way, but by the numbers, I got
By
to
the
go Joe
numbers,
Montana second.
and let's just say Joe Montana. Let's just say like the top 10 quarterbacks that we've ever known.
Right.
Okay. I guarantee you, they are the best of the best. And do they still have coaches, Preston?
Yes. Yes.
Not only did they have coaches, but they had a head coach, they had an offensive coordinator coach, they had a
Nutrition coach,
quarterbacks coach, a nutrition coach, a
strength
weight
coach.
training coach.
Yeah.
They had all these coaches. The biggest problem, no matter what level you're at, beginner, beginner is just hard because you have no money. Okay, an experienced agent, their ego gets in their way because they have a little bit of money, but they think they know everything. The moment you're able to release that or understand the fastest way to growth and expediting the process is being around people who are doing what you want to do, that are growing at a level you're like, damn, I want to do what that person's doing. That person's really, when you go to the gym, I don't know what the statistic is, but I guarantee you, your rate of growth in getting to your goal with a trainer versus without a trainer is far greater with a trainer.
Oh yeah. 100%.
So the the challenge I would say that with agents is the new agents. What they do is they find, just like it is for pre-approval letters for buyers. You know, what's your max amount? 600,000. What type of home do you want to get? 630,000. Let's go to the peak. Like that's what people do. And they find in real estate, what they do is they find the bare bones, meaning like, okay, how much are my NAR dues? How much does it cost to take my test? What do I have to get my fingerprints? It's like, okay, I need $2,300. What they really should do is find out that, okay, if I spend $2,300 and a coach costs me $3,000 or $4,000, whatever it is, there's different coaches all across the country you can get or in your area. Figure out a way to get that money, because I guarantee you, you will outpace the majority of agents who start the same time you do, because you are all in. You decided to have somebody help you out with the pain point. You just asked me, Brock, I think I might need one of your publishers. I might need your editing person. Why? Because I've been through it.
Shorten my learning curve.
So you can get to your book faster, not make the
Right.
same mistakes. So that's what the new agents do. They don't put in the extra income or figure out a way to. You can negotiate coaches. Back in the market, I was paid for performance. I would only get paid. I charge you a very, very small flat fee, and I would only get paid if you close the deal. Why? It's much easier to pay me when you get paid, and incentivize me to make sure that I was coaching you, because I didn't get paid unless you made money. Now, for experienced agents, it's just an ego thing. They think they got it all figured out. They think that they understand everything. I got it all taken care of. I don't need any help. And really, until they understand, or until, just like, with my drinking, until I wanted to get help, it didn't matter what anybody said. I was going to do my own thing because I figured I knew everything. But once now, I have several coaches. I have coaches that help me with my social media. I have a social media coach. I have a content coach. I have a coach that helps me with my events. We got that Success Summit down in Key West this summer in July. I need a coach for that. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I've always done them here in Charlotte. I've never done a national place, that much money, room blocking, all those things. So for those agents that are listening, lean into your environment. Go find people that are doing what you want to do and ask them. Even if you call me up and say, "Hey, man, I don't really want to do FSBOs and expires, but you really got me intrigued with your social media coach." Okay, great. Maybe that's your journey. Maybe that's your lane. Maybe there's somebody on here who's watching their home inspector and they want to run their own business like you, Preston, and they want to do multiple states. And you want to create in multiple larger areas. You're like, hey, you need to talk to Preston. He could tell you. Because would you say no to them, Preston?
Nah, I would.
Right.
No.
Why? Because somebody else had to help you along your journey.
Right. And I'm
Successful
not going to do it
people want to
forever.
help them.
And
Right.
and I mean, hey, man, if there's anybody I can help, it's just, yeah, pay it forward, man. Somebody paid it forward for you.
That's all it is. And so once they get to that point, I would encourage people to find people that are doing what you want to do and reach out to them. And don't be scared. I've talked to millionaires that I didn't really think. I'm like, they're not going to give you the time of day, and they do. You got to hunt them down. I mean, they're hard to get a hold of, but once they do, they're like, man, I'm glad you talked to me. I'm glad you reached out to me. So that's what I encourage people is don't be scared to ask for help.
I bet you even your coaches have coaches in some area
Oh
as
yeah.
well. I
It's
think
actually a requirement that they have to have a coach in order, like because that's what my coach said. He goes, don't ever coach somebody who doesn't have a coach.
right. I think what it is, everybody goes through a teenage year of something. Remember when you were teenagers and when you had teenagers? I know everything. My
Yep.
parents, they do. But then when you get older, you realize how foolish I was and I don't know everything. And I think people go through that with their profession or whatever they do. They get a little bit of success, maybe I did too, we all did. I know everything. I'm smarter than no. And then the longer you're in it, the more you realize you don't know. And then
Hmm.
then that's when the true wisdom is we never know it all. We never know it.
Yep.
You've got to be a constant learner in everything. But
Yep.
anyway, I want to be respectful of your time, so just have a couple more questions here. You've given some
Yeah,
gold
man.
nuggets that are awesome, and I want to find out more about your coaching and your thing in Key West. And I thought about something while you said that. Oddly enough, I had texted my daughter this afternoon. For all the people who want to go to Key West to your thing, did you know that Allegiant I'm a big Allegiant person because I love to fly. It's cheap air, cheap air.
Yeah.
They fly out of Asheville. If you can drive to Asheville, straight into Key West, cheap.
Really?
You could get a cheap flight from Asheville if you're willing to drive 2 hours to Asheville to
Well,
Key
it's
West.
cheaper
It's
than
not every
doing.
day. It's like four or
Yeah, I have
five
to
days
look
a
at it.
week. Sometimes it's like $50. So if you're
Wow.
willing to drive to Asheville, you can get a cheap flight to Key West. Thought I would just add that because
Yeah, no, I
I'm
appreciate
always
that.
like checking cheap flights and where I'm willing to drive a little where for a super cheap flight. But all right, so a couple of funny questions real quick, and I want to do this or that. What is the wildest, craziest thing you've ever seen on a showing that you've either been a part of, you've showed a house, or one of your agents or something? What's the craziest or weirdest thing? And remember, this is a G-rated show, so
Yeah. Well,
and and
you
and you
do
can
get some
change
rated
names
R
to protect the
material.
innocent or something like that.
Well, I tell you one of the most. It's really hard to believe. Since I've started getting more into wholesaling and investing, I would have to say the craziest thing I see is hoarding. Like
Oh
in
gosh.
in hoarding and seeing people live in those type of like I really I'm like there's no way they live here. It's impossible to live. You can't even move around. And they
It's a
do.
mental thing. It's a mental thing. It is.
It is that was really crazy. And then another crazy was this older lady. I remember it was by Lake Wiley actually. She didn't know that she had kittens, and
Oh
the
gosh.
kittens were just born. And she's like, I think there's a loose board. I think there's a loose. She heard a little something of them, and I
Oh
was just like,
gosh.
really? Let me go out there to take a look. This mother had 7 brand new kittens, and I had to like help like bring these kittens inside the house. I had to, like the mother wasn't very happy, but like I had to like I mean they weren't brand new, but like they were these kittens, and I don't know what she ever did with those kittens, but I had to help bring kittens into the house. That was the first. I
Oh
haven't done that
gosh.
again, but kittens was bringing kittens in the home. This poor
Of
little
all the
lady.
time you've been in real estate, what's a trend or an interior design or exterior design that you weren't a fan of?
I wasn't a fan of.
Or some
Um,
sort, like
I
shiplap
don't
or
understand.
the
I
barn
don't
doors or
understand.
something.
This one always gets me. I don't understand this concept of popcorn ceilings.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't get the reasoning of popcorn ceilings. Like, did somebody get really excited? Like, you know what, honey? I think we need to do some popcorn ceilings. That, like, I get wallpaper. I get that. I've seen some crazy things with painting. I just don't understand. I mean, it's not like it's easy to paint. It
Yeah.
seems like it would be a mess to be able to do. God awful to
Oh,
clean it. But like popcorn ceilings, I don't get those. I don't get
I
them.
had it in my house growing up in the 70s, and not on top. I'll add another caveat. My father-in-law, no, not father-in-law, sorry, my stepdad, smoked too, which everybody did in
Oh,
the 70s. And then it's like that smoke would get
smoke.
up in that, and it just, oh gosh. Oh, I
Yeah,
can smell it now just
smell
talking
it.
about it. It brought
Yeah.
back things. All right, let's do some this or that real quick. What I'm gonna do
Okay.
is give you two things and you choose it. All
All
right,
right. Okay.
iOS or Android?
What's that?
iOS, Apple or Android?
Oh, Android all the way.
Oh, hey man,
I'm a
you're one of
big.
my
I'm a
brethren. I'm an
yeah. I'm a
Android
big.
guy. My whole
Yeah.
family is iOS though. They
Oh
all.
yeah.
You're the
Same. Yeah.
you're the
I'm the
green
black sheep.
text.
Yeah. Yeah. The green text. Yep.
What were you always Android or did
I
you? It's a
was. I've
or
always been. I've tried to go to Apple. I try because my former wife, she had an Apple, and she's like, "You need to go an Apple phone." I'm like, "All right, let me try." I lasted a day, and I was like, "I can't
uh,
do it." And now I
I
don't
I
have the
went
patience.
I was an Apple up to iPhone 6 or 7 when they got rid of the phone, the earphone jack, and you had to get
Uh,
app AirPods. And I was like, that's just another thing I got to charge, another thing I got to
Yeah.
keep up with. So I switched to Android because I could still get the jack, and then now they
Yeah.
make you get it too. But
Yeah.
but here's what I do like: you can get a lot more camera and memory for the
Hmm.
money, you know. But
Yep.
let's don't tick off our Apple
Yeah. There's a
people
lot of
listening.
Apple
No,
people. They get all bent
but
out of shape.
boy, they do. They do. You ever seen that thing too? Not to get it too off track. You should look this up. Android discrimination. There's
Really?
this comedian. He's like, nobody gets discriminated against like
They
Android users.
do. There's some people who get really bent out
Yeah,
of shape.
no kidding. All right, so would you rather go to the mountains or the beach?
That's a good one. I'm gonna have to say the beach. I'd say the beach.
All right, if you had to be trapped in a room, this is not a fun one. Full of mosquitoes or full of clowns? Which
Oh, I'll take clowns all day. I'm fine with
over the
clowns.
mosquitoes? Uh,
I thought you were gonna say snakes. I was like, I do very well with snakes.
spiders don't bother me because I can step on. If anything, I can step on it. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah, spiders
Taco.
I'm fine with
Yeah. Now my wife, golly, any insect will
too.
put her over the edge. She'll literally
Yeah,
start having a fit. I'm like, honey,
yeah.
you can step on them. You can step on them. All right, tacos or pizza?
Pizza.
All right, cereal before milk or milk before cereal?
I never even thought about it the other way. I've always done cereal first.
Yeah, me too, me too. But there are some
Always.
weird. I mean, there are some people who do.
Yeah, I had to think about that. I'm like, I don't think I've ever done it the other way.
uh, tennis shoes or flip flops?
Tennis shoes. I have a
All right,
bad back, so I
th-
always gotta get tennis shoes.
gotcha. This one's not a fun one either, but you got to have one or the other: a mullet or a
Yep.
bowl cut.
Uh, I think I probably would do the bowl cut.
Bowl cut. Now, you're a little bit younger than me, but did you ever watch Facts of Life?
Oh yeah.
All right, so Joe or Blair?
Oh, characters now. I can't even remember them. Joe or Blair?
Blair was kind
I'm
of like the goody or the kind of uppity. They were both pretty, and
yeah.
then Joe was
Oh,
kind of the wrong
Joe.
side of the tracks, but went
Yeah, I was Joe.
Joe, yeah, Team
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might be too. Um, would you rather have $5,000 to redecorate your house or $5,000 for a vacation?
Vacation.
Same with my
Yeah.
family because if I can make the
Yeah.
memories, that's worth more.
I have
Um,
to say that's something I've learned over the years of just like really making memories with your kids is such a huge like if anything that like that's like literally my number one thing is doing
to
that
me,
with kiddos.
that's your one way to create immortality, and to
Mm-hmm.
teach and have memories with your kids. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anything you buy, like some luxury or car or whatever, 10 years from now, not going to be
Yeah.
anything. But you have a great memory with your kid, or you teach some people, you coach some way to be successful. That lives on and on
It's
and on.
legacy.
Right. It's to me, it's the way you achieve immortality
Yep.
is by passing on. All right, two last questions, and I'll let you go. Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
Same. So football dynasties. Would you go with the 49ers of the 80s, the Green Bay Packers of the 60s, or the Patriots of the 2000s?
You know,
Or
the
knowing you, I know you, the Jets little window there where they had
we
back
had
when they
Rex
had
Ryan for 2 years and we went to the
yeah.
AFC Championship maybe, but I really loved the
But y'all have
Packers on
won the
how
Super
they
Bowl, right? Y'all went back with
we have
Joe
won
Montana. I
the
mean, not
Super Bowl three,
Joe Namath.
Joe Namath, Super Bowl three, 1969.
Upset.
Um,
Johnny Unitas.
yeah, Baltimore Colts. I really like the old style of the way the Green Bay Packers, rough and tough. They played in the cold tundra. You didn't have the
Sweet.
turf. You didn't have all the luxuries that some of the players have today. But I would have to say the New England Patriots because there was so much distraction outside of them with the noise and with Tom Brady with his Deflategate, whether it's like there was always somebody going after them in some capacity. And I think we had social
Right.
media was really out there where, those athletes have to really maintain their focus. And I don't know how these coaches can really do it. I really like Brady and Belichick. I think they did a really good job. So I would, even though I know I probably should say your 49ers because you really
Nah,
love Joe
man.
Montana and everything else.
I'm,
So I
I
would
would
probably
probably
say the
say,
Patriots.
yeah, I would. I don't know. The 49ers, they had a good 10-year run. Um, it
They
was a
did. They
system.
did.
Um, Let me have one follow-up question, even though I lied and said that was the last question. So was it Brady or Belichick that,
It was
you
it
know,
was Brady.
it was Brady?
I mean,
I
Brady was able to
agree,
prove it.
obviously, because he went down to Tampa Bay and won another one.
That's why I speak how confident and with conviction. Belichick couldn't play the game, and he was good. He was they. If you really listen, I now that Brady's out, there's a lot of podcasts and
Oh
shows
yeah,
he's
yeah,
on, and I've been listening to a lot of his stuff. But they were a great pair. Like he was a
yeah,
disciplinarian, and Brady was the one that was able to kind of understand people to make them do things. Um, but I think Brady was the true, and he proved it. To go to Tampa Bay and do it down there, and I mean, and almost do it again. I mean, they played at a very elite level majority of the time, and I mean, hell, I'm 46. Him and I are the same age, and to do it between 44 and 45, God bless you.
yeah. I've watched some of those podcasts too, and everybody who's ever played with Brady, even in other positions, Brady watched so much film on the people they were playing. I mean, he called all the guys on his own team
Yeah,
and like gave them advice about the guy they were going up against because he watched so much. I mean, the dude just like
yeah,
was, Bobby Fischer of football,
yeah,
just like he knew all the moving
yeah,
parts. I mean, awesome. Well, anyway, Brock, I appreciate all you've done. I know you've gave some people, the listeners here, some gold nuggets. So let's right before we get off here, how can people find out more about you, more about your coaching, your books, your podcast, and the thing in Key West, which now we know that they could get to inexpensively if they want to.
yeah. So yeah, we're in Key West. We're doing a summit, a success summit mastermind for real estate agents, July 16th, 17th, and 18th. And basically, I created an event that I really wanted to be something that they go an experience is really with the team. So we have a happy hour boat that we're taking out a sunset cruise Wednesday night, and then breakfast is paid for. Your lunch is included. And then we got an event all day Thursday, and then we have a reception happy hour again because all the damn fun down there. And then we actually have morning workouts that we have a trainer coming in on the beach that you're going to be working out Thursday morning and Friday morning. And then Friday is a half a day, and we're bringing in some keynote speakers across the country. So we have 8 speakers that are going to be there. So that's you can go look me up on bz3coaching.com. And there's also the Key West. You can go to my Facebook group, Brock Zevan's Mindset Motivational Facebook page. That's on there. You can also check me out on YouTube and Instagram. I don't know. I have a they put it all out there. So those are the main channels. And then get my book, you can go to Amazon. My book is Turning Scripts into Conversations. You can go to Amazon to get that. And then all my speaking stuff. If you want me, I'm working with teams now, and so if there's anything I could do to help you out, we're actually getting ready to partner with a video company to do green screens to help people out with the green screens with Instagram and Facebook because they're now the biggest becoming. I mean, I know they're there, but using all the right terms and whatever it is that you're supposed to do with it. So, but a lot of growing stuff that we're doing this year. I'm really, really excited about the team. And so, yeah, check me out Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that fun stuff.
Awesome. Tell me the dates one more time. What are the dates of the Key West thing?
July 16th, 17th, and 18th. So it's a
Okay.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
And they can find out more about that by going to your Facebook, or do you have a website?
Yep. Yep. We have you can go to our Facebook or you go to our website that we have. I'll send it to you so that way you can have it.
I'll
if
put
you
in the
can attach it
notes.
to
What's the
Yeah.
name of your Facebook? Or is it just your personal Facebook, or is there
Yeah,
like a
you can go to
group?
my personal, but you can go to Brock Zevan's Mindset Motivational page.
Awesome. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Brock, man. As always, you brought the goods, brother. I appreciate it. And I'll catch you on the flip side.
Man, Preston, thank you so much, buddy.
You've been listening to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin. Join us on the next episode where we'll be talking to a successful agent or vendor about the right things to do and the wrong things you should avoid. Join us on the next episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast.